All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Hartford School Building Committee meeting, January 16, 2024. Call this meeting to order at 12:03. First item on the agenda is roll call. Mr. Tony Little, please.
Good afternoon. Mr. Maldroni.
Present.
Councilman Clark, second.
Present.
Ms. Sherry Davis Goode.
Present.
Mr. Al Gary. Mr. Edison Silva.
Present.
Ms. Jahari Escobar. Mr. Clarence Corbin. Mr. Clarence Corbin, I see you here. Having some audio problems.
You chimed in not too long ago.
Yeah, he's still being listed here as present. Miss Shantae Browdy. Okay, I know Miss Davis Goose mentioned that Shantae was on her way in. However, we
need Mr. Corbin to chime in so we have quorum. Tony?
Yeah, we need one more to chime in for a quorum. Mr. Gary's not around, surprise. Anybody heard from him?
I haven't.
All right.
I just have left them a message and I'm awaiting a response from Mr. Gary.
Thank you, Emily. Or Kelly.
No worries, Paul. No worries. Mr. Corbin is joining right now again. He has some technical difficulties.
All right.
I just confirmed with Ms. Brody by phone. She is logging in now.
Thank you. Oh, there she is. Mr. Little, you want to finish roll call?
Sure. I'm going to go back to Mr. Clarence Corbin, even though he probably hasn't been able to log back in. Ms. Shantae Browdy.
We're doing roll call, Ms. Browdy.
Oh, here she is. I think she's muted.
I'm here.
All right, thank you.
Okay, with 4 of 7 voting members present, we do have a quorum. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Appreciate you. All right, everyone. Number 2 on the agenda is acceptance of the minutes from the December 18th, 2023 meeting. We're going to do a roll call vote. Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Browdy?
Yes.
Do we have a motion and a second?
I'm sorry, Jack. Thank you for waking me up.
Thank you, Jack.
Apologies. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the December?
So moved.
So moved.
I thought that was done. I didn't hear it. So my apologies for not the point of order. But so moved.
Councilman Clark, appreciate you. A second, please.
Second.
Who was that?
Mr. Silva?
Mr. Silva. Okay, now we'll do roll call. Apologies, everyone. Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Chief Davis Gouge.
Yes.
Ms. Escorbano. Not here. Mr. Gary. Not here. Mr. Silva.
Yay.
Mr. Corbin. Mr. Clarence Corbin.
I think he's still having difficulties.
If he does, okay. With 4 yeses, we do, the motion does pass, but we'll go to any discussion. Hearing none, motion carries. All right, everyone. Item number 3 on the agenda today is public participation. I'll read a little note here. Due to the use of remote meeting format due to pandemic protocols, public participation will be supported through the duration of the meeting by using the comments function on either YouTube, Facebook, or by emailing comments directly to myself at paul.drummy@hartford.gov prior to or during the meeting. At this time, I ask Mr. McCauley if there's anybody online that has a question.
There are no questions or comments at this time.
Thank you, Stan. Everyone, the next item on the agenda is the administrative. There are no administrative items on the agenda for this week, which brings us to item number 5 on the agenda, which is current projects under construction, Arcadis O&G CNR program management. 5A action items. Jack Butkus, please take it away.
Thank you. First item of business today is change order number 17 to Newfield Construction for the Buckley High School renovation. Total value of this change is $14,750. The items that are listed have been reviewed and approved by the change order committee and are eligible for reimbursement, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Mr. Silva. Second,
Second.
Councilman Clark. Okay, roll call. Oh, no, discussion. Hearing none, we'll do a roll call. Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
thank you. Chief Davis Googe,
Sorry, yes.
thank you. Mr. Escribano is not here. Mr. Gary is not here. Mr. Silva,
Yay.
thank you, Mr. Silva. Mr. Corbin. Still having audio trouble. We do see him. Oh, he's connected to audio. Mr. Corbin. All right, we'll try for the next one, Mr. Corbin. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, motion carries with 4 yeses. Jack?
Next item is change order number 19 to Newfield Construction for the central administration portion of the Buckley campus work. Value of this change is $4,062, which has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee. It is also eligible for state reimbursement, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Clark. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Okay, discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to roll call. Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
Chief Davis Googe,
Yes.
Mr. Scribano, Mr. Beery, Mr. Silva.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Corbin. Try you
Yes.
again. Thank you,
Can you
Mr.
hear me?
Corbin. Yes,
You
we
hear me?
can now. Thank you.
Oh, okay, finally. I heard the whole meeting. I just couldn't get in for you to hear me speak. Sorry.
No worries. All right. Jack?
Yes, the next item is change order number 19 to PDS for the Burns School project. This is an extensive change. The net value is $41,243. It includes a credit back for de-scoping some work from one of our set-aside contractors and allowing the direct purchase of materials by the construction manager. Total, as I said, the total value is $41,243. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Clark. Second,
Second.
Mr. Silva. Discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to roll call. Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
Chief Davis Cruz,
Yes.
Mr. Bono is not here, Mr. Beer is not here, Mr. Silva.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Corbin,
Yes.
that the motion carries. Jack?
Very good.
Item number 5B are the project reports.
Yes, moving on to our reports. First up, the summary of project budgets. We are currently status quo with confirmed budget changes and at present confirmed with project schedules. Next slide. We're presently exceeding our goals for all phases ongoing at Buckley and are still working towards correcting our shortfall on Hartford resident workers at Burns, well above our 15% goal for MBE participation at Burns as well. Next slide. Concerning Buckley, we've paid $37 million to date against our $210 million budget. We have a balance uncommitted in the project of about $11 million. And for central admin, we are paid to date just short of $16.8 million against the $34.8 million budget, with a project balance uncommitted of just over $1 million. Next slide. Right now, we are in the final efforts of the Phase 5 exterior demolition. The contractor is beginning to demobilize this month as we get through the last of the selective demolition work. Phase 6 is complete, and we continue to ramp up on Phase 7. Submittals are continuing. We're above 100 staff on site on a daily basis, and work on the project is continuing with drywall contractor, MEP contractors, and concrete most evident. Next slide. Again, for the budget overview on Burns, we've touched on that. Next slide. Area 1 areas are currently under construction. Area 3 is under construction, and we have, as I noted last time, received all of our critical electrical switchgear, and the connection to permanent power for that new electrical service continues. Work is continuing on with the next major transition in February, with a new area to be undertaken or to be taken over for renovations as of March. We are beginning the discussion of design for the playground areas. And as I mentioned, we should be wrapping up Area 3 so that we can begin returning areas to use and taking on new areas, which will transition into a kickoff in March. Next slide. 90-day look ahead. As you can see, quite a bit of activity planned for the next 3 months on the Buckley campus, with a majority of contractors except finishes underway during that period of time. Site utilities continuing on, again, weather permitting. We've had a fairly mild weather winter so far, and we'll continue making progress to the extent possible. Next slide. For Burns, as I mentioned, wrapping things up in February for transition and finishes and such, continuing in January for a transition in February. Prep work beginning in Area 4, which will make a major press into a new area in the March timeframe. Are there any questions regarding progress at Burns or Buckley?
Jack, can we talk a little bit about the funding for Burns?
Yes, we have been compiling costs for a planned request for additional funding for the Burns project. We've experienced a large number of hidden conditions as there were areas of the building that were unable to be investigated during the design phase due to hazardous materials being present. There were also areas of work that were intended to remain that we've determined not to be structurally sound. This is something that we experienced in another building of similar vintage, which was the MLK project, where just the type of construction used back at the early part of the 20th century has not held up very good over time. And if we try to make modifications, cut new doorways into existing walls and such, we're finding that the configuration of materials used at that period of time does not really permit for those alterations to take place. So we've had to remove some construction that was intended to remain and replace it, which has created some significant impacts to the owner's contingency. As we're going back for additional funding, we've also revisited items that were eliminated from the project due to value engineering that the district feels were important givebacks. And if we're going to go back to the well, so to speak, we're looking to seek additional funds to put some of those building features back into the project. So those dollars have been calculated in general. We're discussing those with City Hall at this point so that we can make an appeal for additional funding during this current legislative cycle.
Right. Thank you, Jack. And I updated the mayor last week, keeping him informed, and obviously Councilman Clark is here with us today in committee. So as the project team works forward, getting to that point to where we can roll up the information to the powers to be, that will be forthcoming. Any questions? Okay. Hearing none. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Item number 6 on the agenda is current projects under design. Collier's project leaders. Take it away.
Afternoon, everybody. Nothing's changed here. We're still looking for additional funds for each 3 of these projects. They're in front of the state. We're proceeding accordingly. Schedule-wise, we haven't changed. We're still looking at March 2027 for the Wish School. Next slide. Matanzas, we've got the budget out there at $66.8 million. We paid $948,000 to date. We've contracted $4.4 million to date. Schedule again hasn't changed. We're still looking for an fully occupied and completion in the fall of 2027. We're in the process of finishing up the DD stage and putting estimates together. Those just came in here yesterday. So we're looking pretty good there. We're about, in the design phase, we're about 70% complete. And we're looking at going for a DDR with the state here pretty soon. The DDR is a design development review. Next slide. These are the 5 phases we're looking at for this project, where the phase 1, 2, and 3 will be done before June 2024. And 4 and 5 happen as we start construction. Next slide. This is a big overall schedule, what we're looking at here. It's a little hard to read on the screen. So that's why we'll go ahead and do our 3-month look ahead. Any questions to date? I've sort of rushed through this one pretty fast.
None from me anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, Ray, you wanted to set up a meeting here shortly?
Yeah, next
Or
step
do
looks at a
earlier?
3-month look ahead. I'm looking to have let's go to the next slide. But Patansis, I'm looking to have an early February advisory committee meeting. So we'll be talking a little bit later after this meeting about firming up a date for that.
Okay.
So for the rest of January for Batances, we're looking at the 30th, going in front of the DAS with phase 2 and 3, which is the main construction process, and going for a design development review. That's where they take a look at our project and make sure we're meeting all the state's requirements. In February, we're looking for the advisory committee early in February. Get in front of the Board of Education. The dates here we have are just tentative dates. I need to talk to Ms. Gooch a little bit further about forming up something to put in front of the Board of Ed, and that's where we are there. I'm looking at also putting in front of this project in front of DAS with a plans completion review for phase 1. Phase 1, remember, is the portable classrooms or the temporary classrooms that we need to put up to move kids around in. In March, we're looking at bidding phase 1 and starting to work on our GMP. GMP is a guaranteed maximum price for CMs. So phase 1 would be the first phase, which will be the temporary classrooms and any kind of implementing work we're looking to get accomplished the first summer of 2024. Any questions on Betances? There's a lot going on in the month of February. We'll be getting a lot of approvals, a lot of processes we're coming to the end on. Next slide.
Excuse me, Ray, this is Sherry.
Hi, Sherry.
Just want to make sure that it's clear that those dates in February are tentative. Our board meeting and committee meetings dates have changed, so I will be sharing that with you and we confirm up the dates.
Of course, we've had that discussion earlier too, so understood.
Okay, thank you.
Kennelly, same thing. We're looking at the new budget of $80.2 million. We've contracted out to date 4.5. We've paid to date $883,000. Schedule hasn't changed. We're still looking to have complete construction and phasing done by the fall in 2027. We are in the process of going through design reviews on this one. We've completed the estimates. We're working on the estimates as we speak to make sure we stay within budget. So our design process is about 70% complete. Any questions of Kennelly? Next slide. Again, these are the 4 phases for this project. We've broken up where phase 1 is the temporary classrooms. We're going to do the early demolition and abatement in this project. There's a lot of abatement that needs to be done. Phase 2 is a major construction. Phase 3 and 4 will be designed during the construction phase to fit out the space and make it usable for the classrooms. Next slide. Again, this is a little hard to see on the screen here. That gives you an idea how we're proceeding and where we're going throughout the whole process. Next slide.
I think, Ray, if I could just really quick, just the reason we're showing the overall schedules is we build these macro schedules to show the main stages that then Ray's depicting in his 90-day look ahead. The red line, it's hard to read again, but the red line right now reflects where we are this point in time in cutting through those blocks. In if we do a good job and if we get our macro schedule developed, the red line moves and those other boxes don't. So what this is really depicting is we're right on schedule right now for the tasks that have been outlined in the overall schedule to get us complete by 2026.
And that's our biggest task here, is to stay on schedule. This gives you an idea how we're going to proceed. Next slide. And this breaks you down for the next 3 months of what's going on. Similar to the Betances, we are going in front of the state DAS and on the 31st for a DDR. We are looking to have an advisory committee meeting. I've got it February 26th. I'll probably push that a little bit faster, a little bit earlier in the month of February, just to get through it. So, Mr. Silver, we're going to be talking a little bit further about setting up a real date for that. So we are looking to have a design development review for phase 2, which is the main construction, which is actually known as the temporary construction for the temporary classrooms, in late February. In March, we're looking to have completed estimates for all 3 phases. Any questions? Next slide.
I do. I have a question. So, do you, Mr. Chair?
Please, Ms. Browdy.
So, for the record, DDR is Design Development Review.
Correct.
And I don't know if this is directed to you or Mr. Chair, but there's committees, there's subcommittees, there are other meetings going on. How do I get invited? And how does that process work? That might be a question offline, but I'm interested.
Design development reviews are set up with the DAS, with the state, and we look at the state requirements. That's typically an all-day meeting. We do have
not that one. I mean, these subcommittees, change order committees, like there's quite a few committees.
Right. There's an advisory. there's an advisory committee set up for each school, where Betances, the chairperson for that is Mr. Corbin. Kennelly, the chairperson for that is Mr. Silver, and Wish, the chairperson for that is Mr. Gary. So that'd be the time where you would want to get involved, Ms. Birdie, more for the details. So there's
Yes, not that other meeting. So if someone could be in touch with me to facilitate that or help me get on these particular committees, that would be great.
Is there a particular project you more preference to have contact with or be involved with out of three?
Chairman,
I
for
would
you.
have to think about that one.
Okay.
Chief Davis Gooch, please.
Yes, Ms. Brody, I can certainly, those meetings also include the school leadership teams as well as members of the community that they have selected to participate on advisory committee. So regardless, I can just make sure that you have those invitations sent to you, as well as these before it goes to advisory or after. These documents will be shared either through one of the subcommittees of the board. So you will get a pass at them either way. That makes sense?
Even after we go past the advisory committee, this committee here does get a chance to take a look at them and make any kind of recommendations or suggestions they may wish, because we're always open for any kind of suggestions to keep the project going and make sure it's a successful school in the long run. Next slide. Wish, this is where we are with Wish. Our revised budget, 67.3 million. We've contracted 4.5 million out to date. We paid 776 at the moment. Our schedules have changed quite a bit because obviously we're changing from our renovation project to a new project with a final occupancy of fall of 2027. We're pretty heavily involved with the SD stage. We'll have some information to put in front of the board here or in front of the different subcommittees within the next couple of months. We've got to make some decisions on this project as we go. Right now, phase one is the demolition abatement stage. That's out being estimated as we speak. At that point, we will take those documents. We'll go in front of the Board of Education in this forum here, make sure we get approval before we go to the state to get a PCR. A PCR is a plans completion review. And on those documents, we're looking to take the whole building down and leave the theater as an alternate. So we are working on concept and estimates on this process, and we will need to discuss further.
Now, Ray, let me hop in here for a moment, please.
Sure.
All right. So this one's different, right? So this one, Sherry, Chief Davis Gooch and I are accumulating all the information for the community and the stakeholders that we owe information to, right? Because there's several things going on. There is can we keep the auditorium? Does it make sense? How much is it going to be to keep it and attach? B, can we build a new auditorium? And how much does that cost that is not reimbursable from the state? C is what does it take to build or design the structure to accept an addition in the future? There's a lot of information that we're getting in now that's going to require myself to reach out to my partner, Chief Davis Gooch, and communicate that to the community on even before these meetings, right? So the next couple of weeks, we have our work cut out for us when it comes to Wish. I just didn't want you to think this is as simple, not as simple, but as structured as Betances or Kennelly, because this one is different. And we heard the committee loud and clear on this school and in the auditorium, and we are gathering the facts so we can present the facts to the stakeholders and then go from there and make the best decision for the city of Hartford and the Hartford Public Schools. Any questions on that?
Yeah, Chairman.
Please.
So is the auditorium going to not be demoed or kind of left aside somehow?
Mr. Corbin, so we're gathering all the facts as to what it would cost to keep it, demo it, and build a new one, and build a new structure with a potential of adding on to that structure in the future. So we're gathering the rough orders, or the estimated cost on what it would take to do each of those scenarios. Gather that so we can meet with the community and the stakeholders to provide them with the information, and then come back to the project team and give them direction, because now it's on us, right? It's on the city of Hartford and Hartford Public Schools to get together and make the best decision for the city of Hartford and the Hartford Public Schools.
Just still follow up. So the cost of the $67 million includes those options, or we would have to expand the budget?
The latter, Mr. Corbin. Scott, if you can.
It's a little bit deeper than that, right?
Okay.
Our project budget here includes everything that the school construction grant would cover. It does not include the auditorium as far as dollars go.
Yeah, if I may, we are putting together the information Paul noted as far as orders of magnitude for each of the options, and then Colliers is going to be drafting a letter to Paul and the committee with our understanding of the options and recommendation to move forward.
I'm sorry, just keep following. So that would add to the budget total at some point. We'll kind of have a different projection if we think that it's a viable cost, or
the short answer is yes, Mr. The short answer is yes, Mr. Corbin. But
Sure.
Again, it's a lot more complicated than that. I think
Sure.
it's going to be a lot of information that is going to come in, that's going to be on my desk to communicate with Hartford Public Schools, the Board of Education, leadership on this side, and make sure that we are disseminating that information appropriately.
Understood.
But
Okay.
we're getting closer, right? So we hit a dead end here for a bit, but now we as a group, as the team and the city and public schools are coming together to get to this point. We knew this was coming. We didn't know this was coming, but then we needed to redirect. Now we understood what the next task was. We were at that point to where the information started to roll in, and we're looking forward to getting that information out to the community and the stakeholders to make the best decision. Any other questions on Wish? Okay, Ray.
Next slide.
Next slide.
These are the phases we're looking at for Wish. We've broken out the demolition abatement phase, mostly because we do have a requirement to put a shovel in the ground by June 2024. And the easiest way to do that is by going through a demolition phase. Phase 2 being main construction, that'll be the new building. Phase 3 and 4 will be designed during the construction phase to help fit out the school and make sure we have a good playscape. Next slide. Again, is our macro schedule. It gives you an idea how we're going to get to the end. Next slide. And this is what we're looking at right now. We've got demolition drawings have been presented to the estimators and the CM for reviews. What we do there is we estimate the project, we review the documents, make sure it's buildable, and we take it to the next stage. We do expect to have in front of this committee next month that full phase of demolition for our approval, as well as the Board of Ed approval. We do expect to be in front of the state DAS for plans completion review towards the end of February, just for the demolition phase. In March, we're looking to get into the schematic design and come up with some great designs, some good estimates for what we plan on do to make sure we stay on budget. And at that time, we will have an advisory committee towards the end of March after we know what the dollars are and everything's all set to go. We do expect to have our bidding start for phase 1, which is the demolition in March, with the expectation to break ground in June 2024. Any further questions on Wish? And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ray. All right, everyone, item number 7 on the agenda is the projects under consultant solicitation. We did receive the solicitations. We're procurement vetting through those, gathering the committee to review and interview these firms that have taken their time to submit on these projects. So we're going through the motions. We're excited to get these 3 schools moving forward. Are there any questions on Moylan, McDonough, and Parkville? Okay, hearing none. Item number 8 on the agenda, everybody, is future projects and development. Brief update. We know that we made the list in December, and we'll look forward to June for the actual approval and knowing that it's going to be those 3 schools, Batchelder, Sanchez, and Sand are going to be funded with the support from the state. Any questions on future projects and development? Okay, moving on to item number 9, project closeout. I have one. I asked this to be put on the agenda to update this group. So we met last month, and I said that I should have something pretty substantial for the committee to update you on. The fact of the matter is, it's not substantial, but I do want to at least note that there has been. We had that third-party consultant come in and review the documents. They did come up with their opinion on those documents. We met with a broader group with Chief Davis-Gouge, myself, met with a broader group to discuss the findings. I'm in communication with procurement and corp counsel to discuss next steps, and that is really all I can say at this point. Are there any questions that I may be able to answer? Okay, hearing none, moving on to item number 10 is other business.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Clark.
Through you, can you just briefly talk about the RFP process that was released by, I believe, procurement for the project managers bid for the next round of schools?
Sure. So the city, I mean, generally, Councilman Clark, the city put together a document that we have in the past to go out for owners representation. So why doesn't the city handle this on their own? And the short answer is the city does not have the resources to handle massive projects like these. So we, when it comes to state-funded school construction projects, the city goes out for support, and that's what these owners project managers are. They are an extension of the owner. So Arcadis and Colliers are an extension of the city of Hartford and Hartford Public Schools and do everything on behalf of us. They are an owner's agent. They help us through the process. After we get them on board, they go through the RFP process for the architect, for the construction manager. They get us, as you see, in these meetings, we see the 3 in design. We also see the 3 in construction. So you see all that these 2 firms are doing for the city of Hartford. So we posted for a period of time. There was a question, just like any other RFP process, Councilman. There's a question period. We answered those questions to the best, answer the questions, and then the due date came, and we had 4 firms submit for the next 3 schools. That was extremely general, Councilman, and if there's a particular question that I could elaborate on, I'd be happy to do so.
Thank you for that. You mentioned 4 responses. Are you able to share who those responders are?
I can. So Hill International, CSG, which is Construction Solutions Group out of East Hartford, Arcadis, and Colliers.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Councilman. Any other questions? Great. Next item on the agenda, everyone, item number 11 is adjournment. Is there a motion? to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Corbin, second.
second,
Mr. Edison? Okay, discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
Chief Davis Gooch,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
yes.
and Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
All right, everyone. I appreciate you. Thank you for your volunteerism. And have a great day. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you.